My copy of Sunbreak was provided by Capcom. Thanks, Capcom. Hey there guys, Peak Ginge here, and what a joyous, joyous day it is. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and Espinas is available to hunt in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. It just doesn't get much better than this. Espinas makes its HD debut as one of the Master Rank 4 urgent quests, and it is one of the monsters I was looking most forward to in the lead up to Sunbreak. But for the uninitiated, you may be wondering, what's the big deal? It's just another new spiky flying wyvern, but Espinas is far from brand new, and if you've only begun your hunting journey recently, I can't fault you for thinking that. Espinas made its debut approximately 1 billion years ago as the face of Monster Hunter Frontier, and has never made an appearance outside of that game ever. So when it shut down in 2019, it was thought that its wide array of unique monsters, Espinas included, would be lost to time forever. But Capcom was like, nah man, we got you. Technically, Espinas was meant to make an appearance back in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite alongside Hypnocritrice and Lavasioth, but it never came to be, unfortunately. So with Espinas finally rearing its head in Sunbreak, the floodgates are open, baby, anything is possible, Frontier monsters are back on the menu. So all of that is to say that I've wanted to hunt an Espinas for many, many years, but I never had the opportunity to get into Frontier, and I gotta say, it didn't disappoint. With that little history lesson out of the way, I want to talk about Espinas having fought only one to see just how much I missed and how my opinion might change as I fight it in the future. To reiterate, the point of this little series is to give my feelings on a monster after versing it just once to then compare it to my thoughts further down the line. Kind of a then and now sort of vibe, you know? So let's get stuck in. Here is my first Espinas hunt and my thoughts on the new take on this old school monster. To kick things off, Espinas has quite a unique little gimmick that no other monsters do. In this series, a monster will usually sleep when it is low on health in an attempt to heal itself back up. Espinas, on the other hand, begins the quest snoozing without a care in the world and first needs to be woken up. And let me tell ya, it was not too happy about me interrupting its nap. Let me just, roll the clip for you, shall I? So, in case you missed what happened there, I whiffed a true charge slash, Espinas was instantly enraged, it blasted me with a fireball that inflicts not only fire blight but poison and paralysis as well, and then it carded me with its 180-degree turn on the charge. An excellent start if I do say so myself. I did no research going into this, and all I knew was the sleeping thing and the poison fireball, so it was certainly eye-opening when it carded me so quickly. But enough complaining, let's get back into the action. Oh wait. I'm dead again. Yeah, so look, I wasn't anticipating the amount of damage this thing would be doing, and I wasn't giving it the respect it clearly deserved. One card left before 5 minutes, but don't worry, this is when we do our best work, fellas. I decided to take it easy and get a bit of a better idea of what attack patterns I'm going up against. My first thought was that this thing would behave a lot like a Rathalos or a Rathian, but honestly it's more akin to a Diablos meets a Basilgeuse with big charges and tail attacks. Also, did I mention, it's fucking huge. I mean, I know we saw it in the trailer leading up to release, but once you're standing next to it, it just dwarfs just about every other flying wyvern in the game. Chasing down Espinas, we get an opportunity to use both Mizutsune and Astalos to deal some much needed damage, and I decided to switch to a bit of a faster playstyle with the new skills Greatsword was given in Sunbreak, and yes, I am sort of playing it really safe now because, well, you know, we have one card to work with here. It seems that Espinas is pretty much always enraged, and its attack patterns vary quite a lot. It has several different breath attacks, including the traditional fireball, the larger wind-up that both the Wraths have, and one where it fires off 3 fireballs, the third of which it leaps backwards as it uses it. It also has whatever that first attack it carded me with was, something I never saw again for the entire hunt. Its charge attacks are also very strong, the main one being a bit like Tigrex, except much more accurate. Espinas will charge you and turn a full 180 degrees to charge back at you if it misses, sometimes repeating twice if it's enraged. It also shares a lot of the tail attack animations with Diablos and Basilgeuse, as I said earlier, as well as a few unique horn thrusts and slashes. About halfway through, I tried to start focusing some attacks on the tail to see if you can cut it off, something I ultimately never achieved, and I almost carded. Twice. But I didn't, so I got that going for me. Espinas is unrelenting and surprisingly fast, but the hunt is relatively straightforward, I would say. Not the most complex mechanically. If you know how to fight a lot of the higher tiered monsters in base Rise, you'll adapt to Espinas pretty quickly, I think. After many potions consumed and many Espinas charges and fireballs, it was on the ropes, and I opted to capture it as I have been doing with most of the new monsters. I was even rewarded with an Espinas mantle for my troubles. Fuck yeah. Not a terribly long hunt, nor a complex one, but I think it will benefit from a bit more of a breakdown of my thoughts, so let's do exactly that, shall we? So Espinas was a long time coming. It ultimately comes from a much simpler time in Monster Hunter history, free of wire bugs or hunter arts or even underwater combat. A time when flying wyverns reigned supreme and leviathans, brute wyverns, switch axes, charge blades, and insect glaives didn't even exist yet. It's a monster whose reputation precedes it as being one of the few to be able to go toe-to-toe with an elder dragon and win. And honestly, yeah, I can see it taking a Kushala down, but nothing higher than that really. Don't get me wrong, the Espinas is strong, especially for a flying wyvern, and I liked it a lot. It just seems like it's not entirely an Elder Dragon level threat with its rendition in Sunbreak. And yes, I am well aware I double carded to it, but that's on me. Once I gave it some space, learned what I was up against, and was not so eager to serve myself up on a platter, the fight was pretty straightforward. As I said, it reminds me a lot of Diablos or Basilgeuse, a flying wyvern that throws its weight around a lot and is unrelenting physically, while still having access to a deadly concoction in its breath attacks. I'm not sure there's ever been a monster in the mainline series that applies 3 separate status effects with 1 attack before. My personal favourite part of the hunt was the beginning. Having a monster that is in general so peaceful that it starts the quest to sleep is a great gimmick, and having it so quickly fly into action and completely obliterate me was even better. It's gigantic and surprisingly fast for its size, and it has wildly varying hit zones whether it's enraged or not. I think they did a good job with breathing new life into an ancient monster from times long past. All the Frontier frogs watching this are probably screaming at me for saying this, but maybe I'll get the chance to play it one day and learn the error of my ways. I think it also looks great visually, the model is clean and the animations really sell the weight behind its attacks, even though it was faster than I expected. I don't think there was anything in particular that I didn't like. I guess the hunt was over pretty quick, and I suppose it didn't feel like it really had a lot of health. But I did beat the shit out of it with Astalos and Mizutsune, so that probably knocked off a big chunk of its health in a short amount of time. Now, before I wrap this up, let's talk about something I mentioned earlier. What the appearance of Espinas could mean for the future of Frontier monsters. Like I said, I've never played Frontier, so all of my opinions here are purely based on visuals and what little gameplay I've seen online. With Espinas in Sunbreak, I'm excited for what potential other monsters we may finally see. Will an update add something like Akura Vishimu, the giant crystal scorpion monster, or perhaps Nono and Kamu Arugaron? Maybe we'll even see the likes of Gorenzabaru or Shantian. I know Frontier has a lot of monsters that would likely just be too much for mainline Monster Hunter without the mechanics of Frontier to go along with them, but now that they've shown their willingness, I can't wait to finally try out the Tonfas, because obviously those will be the next things to return. Obviously. Please? Capcom, please give us Tonfas in main. I want to try them so bad. And with that, I think that'll just about do it for this video. Next up will probably be Malzeno, I think. In fact, I'll probably go and fight it right after I've recorded this, actually. A week after Sunbreak's release, I'm sure you're all miles ahead of me, but sometimes it's nice to just take things at your own pace, you know? I've been having a blast enjoying the new monsters and mechanics more than I thought I would, so stay tuned for more videos in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all on the next video, folks. See you later.